14:20 in the morning for this December 28th, 2022. Marble Mouth this early in the morning. Been off for a week doing these. Took a week off for the holiday season, spending time with family and friends and the like. So a little bit didn't want to get up that early and do these, but I got one going today. This one today is brought to you by Rocket Sports and rocketsports.com. Use promo code 1420RUCK, RUKK, at Rocket Sports for all your backyard training needs to get yourself 10% off at checkout. Anyways, the World Junior Tournament going, the holiday tradition here in Canada for sports fans and hockey fans mainly, got going for Canada on, I guess it would have been Monday night. Days all kind of go together at this time of year, but Monday night, Canada faced Czechia. They lost 5-2, a humbling loss to say the least. Canada had some issues throughout the game. Things were going. Let's start with, before the game even started, the TSN panel, including Craig Button, which I am not the hugest fan of, but that's my own opinion, so you guys can make your own call on that one. But they were anointing these guys the next one before the games even started. They had a couple of pre-tournament games, which, like I said, they don't mean a whole bunch, but it was interesting to hear them anointing them the next ones, comparing them already to the 2005 team. The 95 teams that both went undefeated. The 2005 tournament in Grand Forks, North Dakota, had a bunch of NHL guys because there was a lockout in the 2004 season. There was a lockout in the 94 season, where the 95 tournament was, and it kind of was giving these guys the next ones and the next tournament guys, and those teams went undefeated. Obviously, Canada's not going to. Prior to the game, you don't know who's going to go undefeated, how it's going to go, but this team did not look one bit like those teams back then. Those teams back then were dominant from the start. Every game they rolled to victories. The 95 team, I think they had one tie in there, but there was a lot more NHL guys on those teams, obviously, that there weren't on this 2005 team. The 95 team didn't have a couple of kids. We'll get to those guys in a second. But it was kind of neat how Jeff O'Neill of Overdrive fame, ex-Carolina Hurricane, ex-Toronto Maple Leaf, guy that I find quite humorous. He had one of those hold my beer moments where he was on the radio or on the panel, and he goes, "Whoa, guys, let's not do anything or make any drastic comments yet." And lo and behold, Canada goes and loses the game 5-2. They look a little uninspired. They didn't look great. They were up 1-0. There was a 2-0, and then there was a goal that was disallowed and the like. And then the floodgates seemed to open. There was a 5-minute match penalty to a hit to the head. International hockey is a little bit different with how a referee, it's more of a judgment thing, not a judgment. It's just an odd call. I didn't think it was a hit to the head. Zach Dean got a fiver and a match, and the Czechians, they kind of rolled to victory through that, and Canada looked a little bit uninspired throughout the game. They tried to get a little too cute and trying to score a three goals on one shot, and they were trying to do a lot of things individualistically, which didn't seem to work. I'm not putting this loss on Connor Bedard, who was their offensive stalwart out there, was doing a lot of really good things with the puck, was doing a lot of getting a lot of offensive chances going, but it seemed like the rest of the team was really trying to be a one-man show and try and get it all done by themselves and trying to get the victory with one shot on goal. And you can't get, there's no such thing as a 3-point shot in hockey compared to basketball or a field goal in football. So it didn't work out too well for Team Canada in the first game. Their starting goaltender, Benjamin Gaudreau, wasn't good enough. I'm not putting this loss on him. I rarely put a loss on a goaltender. Being a flailing tender like I was myself, I rarely put a loss on a tender, but this one, the kid just wasn't good enough. The one power play goal that the Czechs got, he was a typical straight out of the box goaltender that the hockey world just has. He was going down prior to the guy was even at the bottom of the circle. The player waited him out because he knows what these goalies are going to do. He was well aware what was going to happen. Waited for Gaudreau to go down. He went upstairs. There it is, and it was the power play goal that might have put the nail in the coffin for Canada. Like I said, he wasn't good enough. He probably won't be starting today when they face the Germans, but it's going to be an interesting see how things go. Scouts barking over in the background there, but that's he's got whenever a visitor walks by here, he gets a little excited, so it's good. He's a good guard dog. He's a really good guard dog. But anyway, Scout, you need to shut it a little bit. The rest of Canada was the team wasn't great. I thought that the Fantilli kid, who's projected to go number 2 overall, I thought he was a bit overmatched at times. I thought his defensive zone coverage wasn't good. Canada's defensive zone coverage in general wasn't very good. But the fallout, the big fallout, and the big news of that game is the two goals that the younger kids, the 2 draft picks, Bedard, who's going to project to go first overall. Like I said, it's not his fault they lost. He was a really good player in the hockey game. And him and that Fantilli kid, they both tried the Michigan goal, which was made famous back in 1996 by Mike Legg in the NCAA tournament back then, I believe it was. But they both tried this goal, and there seemed to be a little bit of disdain from his teammates in front of the "No Me All We" team slogan sign that Team Canada has, or every team has those their rallying cries. The "No Me All We" sign is kind of funny. It's kind of ironic that they were having interviews in front of that sign talking about a Michigan goal, which is probably the biggest me moment in hockey, because it's individualistic like you wouldn't believe. Dylan Gunther plays a few games with Phoenix Coyotes. I think he's still up there. They just sent him down for some seasoning, some ice time, the whole bit. He said, "We aren't going to Michigan our way to victory." Brant Clark, another NHL guy who plays for NHL Kings, he says, let's not get a cute one here. Sometimes you've got to get some goals, and you got to find a way to score some goals. I get that, but let's not get a cute one. And then Logan Stanko had a heck of a game. That kid's name was all over the airwaves, and he was all over the ice that game. There's a time and a place, and maybe when you need a goal, maybe that's not the time to go out and get one of these things. And it kind of goes to show that there's some of the mentality of these, and you hate to pile on these kids in there after losing a game, but some of the entitlement that these kids have, and trying that goal probably isn't the best thing to do in an international tournament when you're 17 years old. Yes, you want to show off your skill and everything else, and hopefully impress some scouts. But since you're already projected to go 1-2 overall, I don't think the time to try a Michigan goal is the best time. I think it's kind of selfish. You know what? It's not even kind of selfish. I think it's completely selfish. I think it's a look at me moment. There's no I in team, the old thing. Yes, there's a me. I get that. But when your team slogan is what it is, it was a bad look. I thought that to be doing that kind of a attempted goal. It seems like every game you see it. You see a lot more in the NHL. The Zegras kid does it in Anaheim, but you know what? He's in the NHL, so he can take the time to do it on a last place team. So maybe trying that in Anaheim isn't the worst thing. Trying in Team Canada when you're 17 years old, and it's funny that it was 2 17-year-olds who tried that goal and attempted that shot, and it didn't work out too well for them. And it was 3 NHL guys or 2 NHL guys who were playing for Team Canada that said, "Hey, you know what? Maybe it's not the time or the place to be doing that thing." I completely agree with that. The "No Me All We," it's a great thing to say, but tell some entitled kid who hasn't been told no his entire life. I don't know Bedard, obviously. I don't know this Fantilli kid, but it seems kind of I don't think it's a coincidence that 2 17-year-old kids who were projected to go 1-2 overall are trying that, and a guy who played in the NHL isn't trying that. They probably might not have the same skill level, but I just kind of find it a little bit funny that those the 2 young boys were trying that out. Like I said, I'm not blaming the loss on Bedard. He's a hell of a player. He had a hell of a first game, but it just I don't think that was the time or the place to be trying that kind of stuff. It might be the most selfish play in hockey to try that, and it's a look at me moment, that because you don't just you can be creative out there and try different things, but there had to have been a different outlet pass from behind the net, and something they might have been able to try to get some offense rolling a little bit, and try it early in the game to try to get the crowd going, and a look at me moment, have his TSN moment early in the tournament, and trying to get the tournament highlight reel. I think it was a kind of a chicken shit move in my opinion. Anyways, hopefully Canada can get it going later on today. They